sorry, that's for a Democrat show.
No matter what the technical difficulty is, this man is a professional. He goes all the way.
What you represent to them is freedom.
Was an extremely great conservative commentator. We're tearing it up on Wednesday night. This is awesome. This will allow me to retort.
Well, this is Jersey Joe for the Reaver of Common Sense show. 8 p.m. on shrmedia.com.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome to the Reaver of Common Sense show. I am your host, Jersey Joe, making sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember to join the live chat. Go to shrmedia.com. Just click on the chat room button. Join the conversation. If you want to watch a live broadcast, go to Reaver.one. Click on the live stream. If you want to watch if you like the live stream, I should say, go ahead and click the subscribe button. And if you want to support the show or support SHR Media, go to Reaver.one and click on the Reaver store. And we got a little special guest this morning and called in. It is Crash from the Southside Mutt show. He called in while he's driving in between his jobs. And we've been talking about last night's bombshell and big story. You there, Crash?
Yeah.
Yeah, last night was a big bombshell. I did not expect that. A lot of people did not expect Ted Cruz to drop out.
I was actually kind of surprised, too. I mean, I was actually fully anticipating waking up this morning and finding out who the cabinet appointees were going to be for his administration.
For those that don't know, there was a joke running around Facebook last week when Cruz lost, what was it, New York? No, those 5 states in the Northeast.
Yeah, he lost the Eastern Seaboard.
He announced his vice president, so the joke was if you lost last night, he was going to announce his cabinet.
Yeah.
No, you should have been actually on social media last night. That was the fun part.
Yeah, I wasn't on any of that. That's your thing, Jersey. My blood pressure goes a little bit too high.
Well, I'm an asshole, and I know it. And I was actually trying to be nice, and, I know people are going to be upset. It's a very emotional. People put a lot of effort into these candidates. Especially with the atmosphere we have, they put a lot into these candidates. And I know it's upsetting, but some of them just... When my daughter was 5 years old, she never threw these tantrums like these guys did it. Or people did, I should say.
Well, honestly, I think it just goes to the whole point of it's the mentality that's been set up where everybody's a winner.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a trophy. Everybody gets That's not how the world works. And you know what? People reach in that harsh reality, which I don't think should be considered harsh. It's just reality.
No,
but people reach in that when they're in their 20s and late teens. It hurts a heck of a lot more than if they learn it when they're 5 years old that you are not going to always be the winner. Simple.
Yeah.
But you teach your kids when they're young, instead of this, all the rest of this stuff.
Well, I mean, though, with the primaries, that's what happens. One candidate is left. I mean, it's really, oh shit, what is that movie? Highlander.
There could be only one.
I mean, that's what happens basically, and
you made a Highlander reference.
Yes, I love that movie. Especially, I love the soundtrack to the original movie with Queen. I'm also a huge Queen fan, and just.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask which movie are we referencing? The original Highlander?
Yeah, the original.
Off topic, I will say the original Highlander, by far the best. Wasn't huge on the sequels. Entertaining, yes. Huge fans, not really. But surprisingly enough, I did for a brief time enjoy the sitcom, which is rare for them to turn a movie into a sitcom, and the sitcom actually be halfway worth it.
Sitcom? It was. I mean, it wasn't a sitcom exactly, but it was the TV series.
Well, if it's on TV, I don't know. I just call it a sitcom. It's a sitcom or it's a movie.
Okay. But yeah, that's what it comes down to. Is there can be only one, and they get nasty, and it's almost like we came on air last night. Dan the Man Butcher, Sackhead Sean, and myself. We came on last night, and I think it was Sean that made the point. It's like two boxers, man. I mean, you're going to be going at it. How many times do you see boxers in the pre-fight? What do you want to call them? Interviews, and next thing you know, they're throwing punches, trying to bite each other's head off, and well, in one case they bit off an ear. But at the end of the fight, they're hugging each other and shaking each other's hands. Hi, Cal. And everything's done with. It's when the battle is on, they are quote unquote almost enemies, and you want to rip the other guy's head off. But when the battle is done, it's over with. You know, you're both human beings. You go on. Yes, that is Crash. That's on the line, Cal.
When you step out of the ring, let the fight go. It's over. It's done.
Yeah, and that's what we have is a bunch of people that don't want to let the fight go. They're trying to figure out, and Cruz, what can we do to help you to go on? And he even said it's time to heal. The people have spoken. You know what? I think this will make him stronger for later on down the road. Kel has said hi to you, Crash. This sets it up later that Cruz will be stronger the next time he tries. Or if, like they're calling, let's say Trump wins the election, and we do have several openings in the Supreme Court. I think Cruz would be better served on the Supreme Court than as a president. I think he would be better in the Supreme Court and better for the Constitution to be sitting there.
Well, he was better. I mean, if he sticks with the conservative side of things that he's essentially always purported, and gets away from that. In all reality, when he's a politician, I mean, yeah, he's a flip flop. Yeah, the lying Ted thing. Okay, fine. He definitely did fall into the trap of I'm going to say whatever I have to say to get elected. He did that, and there's no doubting it. And he's going to have to live with that. But if you get a Supreme Court appointment, that's a job. Essentially, that's a job for life. He's not politicking at that point. He sticks to his conservative ideals. It would be a benefit to the country to again have a solid standing conservative Supreme Court justice to keep the system honest. All right, when we've got everybody as moderates and left-leaning, that's not an honest court system. And that's essentially the way that it's looking. It's going to be going with Scalia's death, which is absolutely appalling to me. But, and that's right in the fact, look at his age. I mean, the guy's young. Yeah. He's not 65 years old. He's not 70 years old. He's going to be young blood going in there, and he could be there for 5, 6 administrations. Yeah, I mean, that would be great.
Yeah, and that's immediately what I thought. And the first thing I did is, I don't like to, but I have to do the social media thing because of the show. I mean, I don't really have to, but I do it because to get the name out and to talk with everybody and get a feel on what's going on. But the first thing I did is send out, congratulations. Hey, that was honorable of Cruz to step up, be a man, understand that the people had spoken. He's always talking Constitution and everything. And the people were speaking that they didn't want him at this time. And I've said it. I think right now that we have been too far left with Obama. I don't think we can go that far right with Cruz. Right from one to the other. It's too much of an extreme jump.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And I'm not trying to knock Cruz on that fact. The man has his convictions, and he has stood by them for the most part. I have no problem with a man that does that. Do I agree with everything? No. I think also some of the people he surrounded himself with hurt him. Glenn Beck, Levine.
Yes. Well, the thing, the thing is, you can have your convictions and you can stand by your convictions and all the rest of it, and that's all well and good. But people kind of, I mean, honestly, Obama's one of the best examples of this. What they fail to understand is you get elected by the people, you're a representative of the people. Now, when it's of a state, you've got a small portion of the total population that you're answering to and that you're representing. It's a little bit easier to stand by your convictions when most of that state is aligned with the same convictions that you have. When you're running the country, you're not just looking out for one side. You're looking out for the entire flipping country. And I'm not saying that you should compromise your ideals for that, but I am saying you've got to give credence to both sides. You have to listen and not throw these fits of, well, I disagree with this, so I'm going to write my own rules, and I'm going to executive order my way through everything. That's completely ignoring the people.
Yeah.
And we don't need that. I mean, we never did, and it's an absolute shame that we got there. But somebody like you said, you can't go from one extreme to the other. If your car is swerving to the right, you can't over-collect to the left. You're going to flip. You've got to ease it back over. Trump is a conservative, but he's got the ability. He's a businessman. He knows how to sit down at the table. He knows how to look at both points, and he knows how to come to the best solution for all parties involved. That's what we need in this country right now. We need that.
Yeah, and
like him or hate him,
well,
we need the skill set.
Yeah, the one thing I hate is how they portray Trump as this liberal Democrat, and that is going to hurt us in the long run because no matter what Cruz says now, he has embedded it in people's mind that that's going on, and it's not good.
It's I don't know. I think the race. I mean, really at this point, it looks like it's going to be coming down to. I mean, the surprising thing that I saw was Bernie Sanders whipping Hillary.
Yeah, that's the main thing I've been saying.
I was surprised that happened, and you know, it's going to make the Democratic race maybe a little bit closer. I'm figuring this is going to come down between Clinton and Trump.
Yeah,
and it's definitely going to be one hell of an interesting race. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting. It's really the only thing I can say about that.
Well, it was stated. I'm looking through as you're talking, and it's giving me a chance to go through my Twitter feed from last night, and I actually got, and I've never had this before, so I'm kind of woohoo. The Drudge Report actually liked and retweeted one about the broadcast of my show. Hey, never had that before.
That's what she said.
We're at a dangerous point right now, and we really need to take stock of what's going on, and we need to be adults about this kind of stuff. And someone told me on Twitter, an older lady, I don't want to say told, but she said, listen, let the cruise people have their night to calm down and relax. And I was trying to do that, but just some of them were just their nasty old selves. And this lady, she was a Cruz supporter, and I don't want to say we got into it. We got talking back and forth, and she's like, well, you don't know how bad the Cruz fan's been. Now, I not laid into her, but I was like, no. It's both sides. Both sides got nasty in this fight, and it was a bad thing, and I was saying from the beginning, this is not smart for us to be battling each other like this because we're going to have to come together, but it's been so nasty. You got people that would rather see... And this makes me question because I got told I'm not a conservative. I'm a Democrat liberal last night. Oh, I'm real upset. Because I'm not willing to blindly follow their guy. I'm using my constitutional rights to support my person. But if Cruz would have been the nominee, I would have backed Cruz. These people are saying they're constitutional conservatives, but one said he would rather see Obama for another 4 years, and the other one says they would rather see Hillary. How the fuck do you call yourself a constitutional conservative and say you would rather see Hillary, the butcher of Benghazi, in office for 4 years? I'd rather see Lindsey Graham, that jackass, in office over Hillary Clinton.
honestly, I got nothing on that one.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, honestly, you said it really good before the show. We were talking before the show started. You said it best. The Republican Party has got one hell of an opportunity right now, and if the damn supporters to get over the ego trips for whatever reason they're on and knock it off, they've realized how good of an opportunity we've got right now.
Yeah, I mean,
Trump's the nominee. He doesn't have to focus on defending himself against Cruz or Kasich or anybody else.
and that's what Cruz he alluded to last night.
We've got a jump start. We got a lead now coming into November. Clinton and Sanders are spending most of their time now battling each other. They can't dedicate a lot of resources to November because they're dealing with which one of them's going to get picked.
Yeah.
And it's a tighter race. So they're spending a lot of resources there. We don't have to do that. So we've got time to strategize, come up with a game plan, and try to, quote-unquote, make America great again. Get a freaking start on it already. Stop the bellyaching. Okay?
Oh, the one I'm also loving is, hey, well, that make America great. That's just like the Nazis. But then in the same breath,
Stop.
hey, no. Because then they sit there and talk about how great Reagan was when Reagan used the exact same expression. He talked about making America great. He used that as a slogan. But they don't talk about Reagan being a Nazi, but they talk about Trump being a Nazi.
I really wish I could mute you sometimes.
And that's what I can do to you. I got the control. I have the power.
Get out of my flippant brain. Okay, since you pulled the Reagan card, I'm going to pull the Trump card. Forget about the American president. Make America great. Oh, that makes him a Nazi. That's what Hitler said. Hey, guess what? His name was Alexander. Damn great. Way before Hitler ever came about. Way before America was even in existence. Okay, as a country. Every single flipping country, area, whatever, has used the make such and such great again. They're trying to they're trying to get people worked up to make something better than it is. Every single country has done it. Not one of them has been associated with Hitler, neo-Nazism, or anything else. Universities have done it. Sporting teams have done it.
Yeah.
So get off your flipping high horse and stop with this BS attacking. It's stupid, it's pointless, and anybody with half an educated brain knows that. And it's just, sorry, I'm so tired of that damn argument.
So am I. It's annoying with it because, oh, wait a minute. Hitler said hi. Trump said hi. They must both be Nazis. You're stretching it.
Hitler spoke German. Does that mean if I speak German, I'm a Nazi?
Jawohl.
Come on.
You didn't hear
I'm
that
just
one,
going to say dickhead. That's the same in all languages.
But I mean, seriously, and I keep hearing, oh, he's going to destroy the party. Same thing they said about, now I'm not trying to say that Trump is Reagan, but I heard all these arguments with Reagan. They said Reagan couldn't get elected. He'll destroy the party. He'll destroy the country. Now they praise him as being one of the greatest presidents.
Well, let's see. How many people, I mean, not to knock the current, I'm not trying to knock Obama saying he hasn't done anything good, but what is everybody saying about him? What is everybody saying about him? Oh, he's going to make things so great. He's going to make things better. I mean, it was blasted all over social media and every place. You know, since I voted for him, he's going to look out for me. He's going to take care of my car payment. He's going to take care of my mortgage payment.
He didn't pay,
He's going to make everything so great for everybody. And the funny thing is, they tracked down that woman in the original thing that said all those statements. His second term, She didn't agree with any of her statements anymore. Everybody said that he was going to make things so much better, and you know what? He fell way short of that.
Fell way short. He didn't even go across the starting line. He's like a marathon person that gives up before starting.
He sneezed and just stopped. His snot didn't even start the race. I mean, I'm not going to say the guy didn't do anything good. I'm sure at some point something was done that was good. I'm sure it was there. I'd have to research it.
Well, there was the Well, he does say that he saved the world's economy. There was that time.
Economy by tanking ours.
But there was that time. Don't forget.
And at that time with the thing and the place.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're talking about. All right, it's time for a break. It actually is perfect timing. Oh. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio. Don't forget, tonight it is the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe, and Crash with Southside Mutts at 8 o'clock. We'll be back.
Done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying cow for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it is the Reaver After Dark, hosted by Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe, and Jersey Crash, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reaverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date on everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show.
And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I am trying to make sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember to join the live chat. Go to shrmedia.com. Click on the chat room button. Join the conversation. If you want to watch a broadcast, go to Reaver.one. Click on the live stream. If you like that live stream, don't forget to subscribe to it. If you want to support the show and you want to support SHR Media, go to Reaver.one and click on the Reaver store. Let's see if Crash is back. You back, Crash?
Oh, I'm back. I do have a quick question. It's a bit off what we've been talking about, but
hopefully it's not what we were talking about off air.
No, not that. If they want to tune into that, I got to listen to tonight's show. That's not daytime radio worthy. It's
why don't you give a shout out? Give a shout out for tonight.
Give a shout out for tonight?
Yeah.
Okay. What the hell do you mean a shout out?
Tonight, don't forget Southside Mutts, 8 p.m. till 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio. It's really easy. It's really simple. You just name of the show. It's with the Jersey Boys, myself, Jersey Joe, and dipshit Crash.
Hey, you do all that publicity stuff, not me. No, but what I will say about tonight's show is a little bit of a teaser for it. All right? We're going to be going over, I know at least two things I'm bringing up. Number one is essentially the evaporation of the middle class and how it's really just all types of screwed up for so many different reasons. And a new thing that I found out about last night, clinical test exams for grammar school students.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not making that up. But going back to my original question, how long have you had the 2-hour time slot now?
Say that, this time slot or what?
The 2-hour version. How long
I
ago?
forget. It's been a while now.
At some point, you may want to change it from we've expanded to, because at a certain point, you stop saying how tall you got.
I know, but it is. You want to rewrite it?
No, I don't want to rewrite it. That's your job.
Okay. Yeah, but you're the creative writer.
I'm the creative. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. You know what? I'll rewrite your intro. No problem, bud. You got to read it.
It'll be 3 years from now. I'll get it back in 152.
Well, you didn't have so many damn spelling and grammar mistakes and everything that you write. It wouldn't take so long. It takes 10 minutes to correct one sentence. Oh, you went to Lawrence High. Never mind.
Exactly. I be graduated from Lawrence High.
Well, with that being said, everybody, if you want to tune in tonight, it's going to be a fun time. It's definitely a lot more off the cuff. Anyway, enjoy Reaver of Common Sense with Jersey Joe, and I'll talk to everybody tonight.
All right. You have a good day at work.
Yeah, later.
All right. So, I think he hung up. We're going to get on with the show. I might have another surprise. I'm not sure. Let me check. Sorry for the little downtime. Then we're going to get going, checking on something. So Ted Cruz, it was honorable. He had to save his reputation also, because he was taking a hit on his reputation. And I know the Cruz supporters have been blindly behind him and supporting him. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. They were loyal to him. But the majority of the people were seeing a lot of negatives they didn't like. Now, this allows Cruz to step back, reevaluate, and correct some of those values and come back stronger next election. This is not meant as a negative towards Cruz. He did an honorable thing by stepping aside. He had some outside issues. Sorry. I can't type and talk at the same time. I might be having another special guest calling in for like 10 minutes to talk about everything that's going on. Cruz, and again, like we talked about, I think Cruz would make a great Supreme Court justice. He does have that constitutional value that would be better served there. Because even if he does make president one day, I don't think he could make a shot at Supreme Court after that. I don't think there's ever been a president that became Supreme Court afterwards. So, he has several paths to choose from. And they shouldn't be upset. He wasn't even supposed to go this far. Him and Trump were never supposed to make it this far. They should have been out a long time ago. That tells you something about his drive, his fight. All right? And I bashed him on the show left, right, and center. And as soon as I saw that Trump had won Indiana, I was bitching and boring, saying that, instead of us being able to concentrate on a general election, we're still going to be dragging this damn fight out. If he was honorable, he would have dropped out. And then he came out for his speech. And it was going on and on and on and on. And I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, this sounds like a goodbye speech. And I'm looking, I can see his mother. And on the screen, it was the left side, which would have been behind him to the right. And I notice her eyes are welling up. And I'm thinking, holy shit, he's going to drop out. And I'm just watching it, and he's going on and on and on. And then all of a sudden, on the bottom of the screen, it popped up Ted Cruz to drop out of the race. I was like, what? He hadn't even said it yet, and that's when he dropped the bomb. But I commend him. But some of the things that happen, it's going to be hard to cover up, and we need him to come out and get behind Trump. Get behind him, and let's push it forward. Let's pull the Republican Party together. I know there's a lot of hurt feelings, and a lot of people feel they can't back Trump. Well, for the last couple elections, I've backed the people that I didn't exactly care for. McCain, I was sitting there electing him going, yeah, he's going to fuck us over. He's going to fuck us over so bad it's not funny. But I know what he's going to do. In Obama, I had no clue what he was going to do. So I might as well vote for the evil I knew. But yeah, you know what? I went along with it. Romney, I didn't think was a good choice. I went along with it. So, you know what? How come everybody else can go along with it? But now you have this small minority. And let me tell you, I don't think it's going to be that hard to replace your votes. I don't think it'll be that hard because we're going to be pulling in independents. We're going to be pulling in trying to figure out what text I just got. Yeah. So, Ted, thank you for being a stand-up guy. Thank you for realizing that at this time the will of the people was not behind you. That doesn't mean that we don't support you or that we won't in the future. It just right now it wasn't meant to be. And if you are a religious man, maybe God had a plan for you. Maybe God said this isn't the time. Maybe this is a lesson that he wanted to teach you. So there's so many ways you could think about it. And it may have just been a teaching moment that was an opportunity for you. So, we're going to jump subjects. Now, Glenn Beck, this is funny because he also announced he's going to stop fasting. And I'm wondering if he actually was put on suicide watch, because he made a comment yesterday that if it didn't go the right way, they were going to have to put him on suicide watch. And this is one of the men that I think hurt Cruz more than helped him. Glenn Beck turned off more people to Cruz than turned on to Cruz. I know that didn't come out exactly right, but Glenn Beck blasts Drudge for mocking his fast, quotes Bibles to encourage Indians to turn away from boasters and blasphemers like Trump. You know, it's... As I said, maybe this was a plan from God, that maybe to teach Cruz a little humility could it have been. There's so many different lessons that could have come from it. It could have just been one to make him stronger. Make him realize what maybe he didn't exactly have the pride he once had, that he needed to be reminded of that. There's so many different things that this could have taught him. And one of them could be to stay away from false prophets. Stay away from these. And it's not all TV evangelists. I'm talking to 80s TV evangelists, and that's what I compare Glenn Beck to. And not even that he was one of them, that he is a wannabe like them. He blasted everybody. If you didn't fall in line and agree, and this is one of the things that's been pissing me off about libertarians and some of these, basically the Never Trump group. It's their way or you're against the Constitution. No, it isn't. It's not that simple. And I'm tired of this. It's one way or no way. And that's what Glenn Beck was pushing. And he was trying to guilt people, religiously guilt people, into falling in line with them. You could recite passages and probably compare it to anything in today's world. Anything that's going on in your life, you could probably find a passage and be able to give common ground to it. But at a rally for Ted Cruz at the Indiana State Fair yesterday, Beck said, Ted and I were just driving in, and he's laughing on his iPhone. I said, well, you made another Drudge headline. Well, it's better than the headline of you pushing Carly off the stage. Well, you know what? There was some headlines that were going to pop up because Carly announced him to come out on stage. She stepped to get out of the way and fell off the stage. And if you watch it, because there were some slow motions I see, Heidi looks and starts snickering, which, of course, I would too. But nobody, including Cruz, nobody went to give Carly a hand or to see if she was okay. They just ignored as if nothing had happened. This Glenn Beck turns around about that with the pushing Carly off the stage and explained the Drudge headline by saying it was because last night when I got home, I did something that I don't think is controversial. I asked for America to fast, pray, and approach the Lord with humility and ask for his forgiveness and his protection. And is being mocked in the media as usual. But I'm telling you, I don't know who we are if this is not an America thing to be able to beseech the Almighty Creator. The one who gave us these rights in the first place and through divine providence established this country. I don't know who we are. But at the same thing, you're being mocked because every time you turn around, you're using religion. You're using the name of God to advance your cause. You're using God as a tool to guilt people into following you. Whether you did it intentionally or not, that is the direct correlation of how you acted and how people perceived you. I don't understand. If you're that religious, how can you sit there and throw God into this every 5 minutes and use God like he was some kind of screwdriver And I don't think God's that, but that is how it felt Glenn Beck was reacting. Dang, it's time for a break already again. It just seems today's one of those days that it's just going to go flying by. Listen, we'll be right back after these commercial breaks, and you're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio. Tonight, Southside Mutts, 8 p.m., right here, SHR Media.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. You didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying coffee is stupid, bro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it is the Reaver After Dark, hosted by Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe, and Jersey Crash, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reaverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date on everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show.
And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe. And making sense out of the senseless. But remember, the takeover is here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember to join the live chat. Go to shrmedia.com. Just click on the chat room button. Join the conversation. If you want to watch the broadcast, go to Reaver.one. Click on the live stream. Do not forget to subscribe to that live stream. It is... I am giving an order. Subscribe. No, please go out and subscribe to it. If you want to support the show and you want to support SHR Media, go to Reaver.one. Click on the Reaver store. I got another little surprise. I'm going to be having Sackhead Sean calling in not too long from here. Sorry. Something on the phone popped up. I'm telling you, I can't do two things at the same time today. It's really bad. But Sackhead Sean will be calling in to talk about an article he just wrote. It's the fork in the road. It's basically what we've been talking about. Yeah, the fork in the road. And how right now, I think the Republican Party is at a fork. And we got to figure out which way do we want to go. But Sean will be calling in to talk about that and all the latest happenings with the primaries. And as me and Crash talked about, we get a head start now. We have a huge head start. Trump now gets to go on the offensive to Hillary. Hillary is going to be able to respond here and there, yes. But most of her time, she has to defend against Sanders. She's not doing that great against Sanders. He's putting up quite a fight. And he's really not that far behind her. He really is not that far behind. And all it takes is some of those super delegates to go, we'll go with him. And she's screwed. I mean, seriously, she would be screwed. That's all it would take. And she's got to pay attention to that. Trump doesn't. Trump has the general election to look forward to. He can start getting his people together for the next step. And as I said, during the primaries, you don't hire all the experts and everybody to be around you, and then you have to drop out a month after getting in the candidacy, and you wasted all that money hiring all those people. So now's the next step where he starts beefing up his campaign, beefing up the experts that are going to be around him. This is where he's going to start expanding on his policies. Just like if it was Cruz, this is where Cruz would have expanded. You start going to the next step. It's that simple. And we are at the point now, we got an advantage. And it's not often that the Republican Party has the advantage. You just made a lot of the base very happy. Seriously, they've been saying for years that the RNC and the politics in general does not listen to the American people. Well, Donald Trump is the pick of the people. And that just goes to show that too many people for too long were doing just going along to get along. The people rose up and said, we're tired of it, and they picked the candidate. And as I said, if it wasn't for Trump, you would not have seen, Cruz would have never been a blip from the beginning. He would have been gone. He would have had none of the money, nothing that left him in. He would have been gone a long time ago. But because Trump and the people, it did allow him to go on. And I've had some people ask me, well, what about a Trump Cruz? I don't know. Because these never Trump people would turn on Cruz in a heartbeat. These people they're. I don't know how loyal these people are, especially when I hear him say, "I'd rather have the butcher of Benghazi elected than Trump." These people are supposed to be conservatives, and constitutional conservatives would rather see Hillary Clinton in office than Trump. They would rather have Obama for a third term, which having Hillary would be a third term of Obama. They would rather have that. And I'm sorry, that's not loyalty. So adding Cruz to the vice president, it would open some doors. But these never Trumps would turn against Cruz in a heartbeat. And these never Cruz people or never Trump people are not going to give up the fight. And it's really coming about that they're actually not as big as they thought they were. They're not that many of them. They are the minority. And I hate to put it that way, but they are the minority. Listen, I understand your frustrations and I understand your aggravations. That's what drove us to back Trump. And and it's not just that they'll go after the candidate. They're going after the supporters. They think by attacking you, me, it's going to get us to come around. No, it isn't. It's going to push people further back. It's going to cause them to double down on what they're doing. Well, couldn't let these never Trump people calm down. And there was, we used to have a pundit, Bunny Fufu. Now, I wasn't looking for her last night. She banned me because I remember she had a radio show. Oh, my God, I have a brain and can remember things. So she banned me from her page. But she was out last night throwing a hissy fit, as she has been. And her little band of merry men. If you say one negative thing about Bunny Fufu, next thing you know, you have like 20 guys that think they have to come in and defend her. But she can attack anybody and say anything she wants. But as soon as someone tries to converse back, yeah, you get jumped on by these band of keyboard commandos. It's funny, but it is funny watching. I can't see her tweet, and I know what she's doing because it just the host of people are bitching about her. She's crying away, and she is one of these. They're not having an open mind. They're so closed-minded, and they're the ones that give the Conservative Party a bad name. Listen, politics in the American way is checks and balances. It's give and take. Not my way and my way only. And I am so sick of that. We all need to work together. Little give, little take here and there, and get things done. There's a lot of us that have been pinching our nose and voting for those that won. I mean, if you won by a majority. Great. They're still going on. He didn't win yet. He still's got to get to 1237. He's got a road ahead of him. Do you think Kasich's really going to stay in it that much longer? Do you think the RNC is going to let him? You don't think there's ways of pinching off his financial supply? He's a minority at this point. He won one state. He has no path. What is it? 7 states Trump won in a row. And by large margins. Large margins. So it's hopefully we can get this all together and get back going straight. We'll get back on this topic after Secretary Sean calls in. But right now, Valerie Jarrett is speaking out and says, I don't say the N-word. White House Chief of Staff Valerie Jarrett says that she does not use the N-word, a term used by comedian Larry Wilmore while praising Obama during his speech at the White House Correspondent Dinner. Jarrett was questioned about her feelings about the use of the word at the White House during the interview with Carrie Lake of Fox 10 Phoenix. Well, it's not a word I use, but everybody gets to make their own decision about what they say. Gee, that's kind of contradictory to what the left has been preaching to everybody. So they get to say whatever they want and how they want to say it, but everybody else has to fall in line to this PC talk. And the ones that control it is people like Valerie Jarrett get to tell people who and what to say. But it's when on the left they could do what they want. Yeah, I don't think so. I think that it was hard to. It was unusual for a comic to talk in such personal terms about the President of the United States, she said, adding that it was a big platform for a comedian, but also a risky platform. If he's a comedian, I must have lost my sense of humor because I do not find anything he says funny. I feel what he did coming out there and saying, you my N-word, and then thumping his chest, and that's how our commander-in-chief responded was, yeah, that is appropriate for non-presidential issues, functions. That right there, I can't put it into words of how disgusted I am. That the actions and the double standards that are going on. And then Valerie Jarrett making excuses. She can't come out and say, yeah, that was fucked up. It was wrong. I don't know. And here's the one that's going to hurt Hillary Clinton. This is going to hurt her. And she's the one that announced this. And I guess she had to announce it. I mean, when sex predators move into certain areas, they have to announce that they are a sex predator. But Hillary Clinton stated that Bill Clinton is coming out of retirement. So women, please watch yourself. There's a sexual predator on the prowl and back out and about. The war of women has been re-engaged, and Bill Clinton is out of retirement. So please watch yourself, women. Watch your children, because Bill Clinton is coming out of retirement. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton suggests that her husband, former sex predator Bill Clinton, and president, could serve as the focal point for the effort to restore manufacturing in states that were suffering huge coal job losses, especially in Appalachia. Well, here's the problem. I don't think there's shit that Bill can do with what she had to say about the coal industry. She tried to backtrack her statements, but people are tired of the political double talk. They're tired of the say one thing in one area and another in another. And for those that don't know, she said she would be putting the coal industry out of business. A lot of people would be losing their job in the coal industry. Now that she's going into Virginia and Pennsylvania and those areas, oh, no, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. Yeah, it was. And she's going to lose those areas. She shot her mouth off for this climate change bullshit. And people have been losing their jobs over this crap where there is no fucking climate change. It's called Mother Nature. It's not man-made. It's called Earth-made. Earth-made. Could have been worse. It could have been Mega-made. She's gone from suck to blow. All right. totally just went left with that. All right, it is that time again. I mean, they're coming up fast and hard today, these commercials. We'll be right back after these commercial break. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, and it helps if I turn the channel on. We'll be right back.
Done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying cop for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it is the Reaver After Dark, hosted by Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe, and Jersey Crash, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show.
And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. Trying to do 20 things at at the same time, not working out. And one of them's trying to make sense out of the senseless. Oh, it's been a long... I can't believe the hour is up already. The first hour is up. Some days I swear I'm going to have to go to like a 3-hour show. Well, we got Sackhead Sean calling in, so... Good afternoon, Sean.
Good afternoon, Joe. How are you and all the Reaver listeners today?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been actually a pretty fun day. I had Crash call in first thing this morning, this morning, afternoon. And now I have you to call in. It's going to be a nice, easy day for me.
Well, you know me. If I can do anything to make your life easier, just let me know.
Well, I could just use that big bag of money that I've been waiting on.
Yeah, and if there's anything else I could do to make your life easier, just let me know. We're all waiting on that big bag of money. That's life.
Yes.
It's been an interesting 24 hours in the world of politics.
That's putting it lightly. I mean, it really got turned upside down last night. I didn't expect Cruz to drop out. That was the last thing I expected.
I agree. And listen, I know we said it on the special we did last night, and I'll say it again. I give Ted Cruz a lot of credit for knowing, essentially, that it was time. And, it doesn't mean he's 100% done in the sense that who knows what's going to happen at the convention. I don't think they're going to pull shenanigans now, but you never know with the GOP because, let's face it, the leadership of the GOP is all about pulling shenanigans and maintaining power. So you never know what's really going to happen until it happens.
Now, you got a point there, but I think if they did that, they know how bad of a backlash they would get. That would be the dumbest maneuver they could do in their life. Would be now. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, to take it away from Trump now, that would be stupid. That'd be suicide.
Well, and that's one of the things I highlighted in my article, is that if they turn around now and now they want to start playing games and pull power plays and stuff like that, all they're going to do is push more people away from the party. And even people who may not have supported Trump, there's a lot of people out there who don't support Trump as a candidate, but support where he is and why he's there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And understand the fact that, hey, you know what, he is the leader. I don't necessarily like everything about him, but he's getting the votes, and that's the way our system works. And as I said in my article, if you want the other system where the party decides who the nominee is going to be in spite of the people, go look at the Democrats.
Yeah.
Go be a Democrat, because that is the way theirs works. Ours was not designed to do that.
But the one thing let me jump in real quick, Sean, and I mentioned it earlier. The one thing that scares me, and it's not one or two people. I've seen it from multiple of these Never Trumps they're saying that they're constitutional conservatives, but yet they're okay with if there was a third term from Obama, they're okay with having Hillary Clinton. How can you call yourself a constitutional conservative and say they're okay with Hillary Clinton? It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, here's my statement to those people. We don't necessarily know what's in Trump's heart. And a lot of people can say, oh, he's mean and blah, 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 blah. And, as I said before, yeah, he is kind of a mean guy. And not in the sense that he's out picking on people, but he's not politically correct. So people are automatically assuming that's mean, which coming from those of us on the right who rail against political correctness, it's absolutely ironic that they don't like him for not being politically correct.
Yeah.
And if you were so anti-Trump that you're going to end up being pro-Hillary by default, then there's a serious problem there. We know Hillary Clinton is evil. There's no question about that. Everybody knows it. Her own party knows it. Everybody knows Hillary's an evil person. You don't necessarily know what's in the heart of Donald Trump. Is he a little uncouth? Yes. Is he a completely outspoken and doesn't care who he offends? Yes, and that's one of the reasons why he's popular.
Yeah, but also
know,
I'm from New Jersey, and I'm kind of used to that. It's not that he's a mean person. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, you're an asshole. No, I just speak my mind. I'm not an asshole. Well, yeah, I am, but you know what I mean? It's sort of the way we deal with stuff, and we just say how we want to say it and not worry about your feelings. And there's a saying about New Jersey, rude, crude, and obnoxious.
Well, and that's very true, and that's a New England, Northeast New England kind of mentality. It's, an old school. I say, people go back east. I live on the West Coast now. People go back east, and they're like, everyone's just so rude. And I said, they're not rude. That's not how we are. We're just straight spoken.
Yeah.
We don't care necessarily about your feelings. It's, the PC, believe it or not, as liberal as the Northeast is, the PC really hasn't grabbed on there as much as it has in other parts of the country. So, you have to understand that he didn't get to where he was in business. And listen, I know that he's had some major failures in business, as every other business person has for the most part.
You take that many gambles, you're going to fail once or twice.
Yeah, of course you are. Some of them are going to work out great, some of them not. That's it's just like politics, right? You gamble in politics, and you support this person or that person or this bill and that bill. There's a chance it could blow up in your face, and you have to sometimes be able to take that chance and know it's going to hit you and still follow through and hope that you're reading the information right. So my biggest issue right now with the Never Trump people is he may not be the best president who's ever walked through the doors of the White House should he be elected. However, we know Hillary will be the worst.
Yeah.
So, it's the devil you know and the devil you don't know. Do you maintain the devil you know? Do you maintain Hillary Clinton, know that it's going to be horrible for our nation? Or do you roll the dice and say, maybe this guy's going to be okay? And at best, hope for ineffective. As horrible as that may sound, but if you're not a Trump supporter outright, then you hope he gets in and at least is just ineffective, does nothing for 4 years, and then we'll reset and do it again. I don't necessarily think that's going to be what happened.
No,
but
his economics is going to be beautiful for this country.
Well, you would hope so, based on what he's done before. But the reality is,
we've heard this before, though, too.
Stay home,
we heard the sky's fallen before, and I'm not comparing Trump to Ronald Reagan, but the same things are being said about Trump were said about Reagan, that he would destroy the country. He's going to be the worst president. And I think people have this myth about Ronald Reagan and forget who he actually was and have this myth that nobody's going to be able to compare to ever.
No, exactly. And that's the thing, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I've said this on my show, I'll say it all over the place. We probably will never find the next Ronald Reagan. Why? Because God doesn't put that many miracles out there on a regular basis, in my humble opinion. You need to have people to work for it. If you believe in miracles, then you can say, well, God uses miracles to save lives, et cetera, et cetera. But when it comes to politics, he's not throwing too many out there. That's for us to deal with and decide. But I believe Ronald Reagan was a miracle. I believe Ronald Reagan was immensely effective and amazing. And the odds of us coming across another Ronald Reagan are slim to none.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. He was just a one-time thing, but too many people are holding him too high and forgetting about all the other stuff that went on. To me, and one of the things that kind of made me back Trump is the man's rich as hell. He doesn't have to do this. But if the country's economy is not doing good, his business doesn't do that great. If he can get the economy going where it's thriving, his company's going to be thriving as a default of that.
As well. And I understand the counter-arguments. I definitely do. There's some other things that he could affect outside of the economy. Yeah, he may turn around and make the world, the economy amazing for our country and make the world bow down to us economically again, which is great. you don't know what he's going to do on social issues and some of the other issues, and obviously that's something to be concerned about, but that's where Congress comes into play.
Yeah.
And that's when you need to have a strong, intelligent Congress who stands up for the rights of the people should the president start to go the other way. And if it's Trump, the same thing. We don't have that now, which is why I think people are so fearful of a Donald Trump presidency. It's that if he goes off the rails, we're so used to our senators and Congress people letting us down and doing nothing that they're afraid that all will be lost. They'll just follow suit. So if you're not a Trump supporter per se, then get behind your congressional candidate, your senatorial candidate, who would stand up to the president should it happen.
Yeah, we haven't seen that in so long. I think people forgot what the Congress is for.
Yeah, I agree with you. And listen, I said the same thing about Hillary. Should Hillary, let's just say Trump doesn't beat Hillary if it comes down to it, you still have to have those people in play to stop Hillary from going out of control. So the congressional and the senatorial election are just as important, and I've said this time and again, as the presidential election. They serve two different functions. One's the executive, and the other is the legislative. And by our Constitution, the president can't sign a bill that Congress doesn't put on his desk.
Yep.
So you need to make sure he won't work with Congress. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. I actually think he would work with Congress. Now, what he's going to work with Congress on, I may argue with at some point, and I have no problem with that, but I've done that with every president that I can be old enough to remember and have an opinion about.
Well,
you're not going to get kumbaya all the time between the president and Congress, but what you need is people who are willing to work together.
And that's what we've been lacking for years, is that working together. But one of the things I hear from people is, oh, he's so egotistical, he won't be able to work with him. He wants it his way and his way only. You don't build a multi-billion-dollar company on it's my way and my way only. He knows how to, okay, I'm going to give up this, you're going to give up that. Okay, we got a deal. All right, I'll give up this, you give up that. And that's sort of what Reagan did, too. I mean, he knew how to negotiate for...
He was a great communicator.
Yeah.
He was a great communicator. And one of the things that Reagan did is he never gave up conservative values per se in order to achieve the goal, and that's why people respected him, and he still achieved his goals.
Yeah.
But because he was a great communicator, because he was a great negotiator, and people knew, if you were going to stand up and argue with Ronald Reagan's ideas, you better know what the hell you're talking about, because he did. And he would be able to slay you on ideals if you were not prepared to have that fight. So, it's something that in this country we have to see the bigger picture in the future. We have 3 Supreme Court nominations prospectively for the next president. 3 of them. If you were so anti-Trump that you're willing to give that to Hillary, you're not just bargaining the next 4 years of the presidency. You're talking almost 50 years of a Supreme Court who are going to be filled. And it's not even like and here's the sad part, it's not even going to be like the Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who is just like a hard Democrat progressive through her ideals. I say once you let Hillary start picking choices, you're talking about just pure old hacks that she owes favors to.
Yep.
Who are going to be more for themselves than either party. At least when you know it's a Democrat like Ginsburg, you know what you're going to get out of her, right? You know where her ideals are. Whether you agree or disagree, she's not going to falter too much. You get a Hillary Clinton nominee in there, and who knows what the hell kind of calamity it's going to cause. And we really need to think about that. You're looking at 50 years of a Supreme Court that will be completely progressive left and batshit crazy potentially.
And a Constitution out the window. But let's say Trump does get elected. I think there's a better spot for Cruz to be on the Supreme Court. I think he would be better served there than as a president where he would only have effect of the country for 8 years, where a Supreme Court, I mean, the guy's young as hell, and he'd be on there for a long time, setting standards with a conservative value. I think he's better served in that position than as president. And it's not meant as a slight against him. It's meant as a compliment that I just think he'd make a better Supreme Court than a president.
Well, I don't know too many people that could say you'd make a great Supreme Court justice and take that as an insult.
He would be a great president. I think he'd.
I think he would be a good president. I really do, and I've said that before. And that doesn't mean that I'm pro or for or anything like that. But when I look at candidates, I like to see who I think would be effective and not effective. And listen, I'm the first one to say there's a lot of things with Ted Cruz I don't necessarily agree with. I don't like the way he ran his campaign this time around. I felt that he took some bad advice from some bad people, and that won't happen again.
And that's what I said at the beginning of the show. This was a learning experience for him.
Yeah. You will never see Cruz run another campaign like that. Cruz, I think, knows right now, if he doesn't, I'd be shocked, that the speech that he gave last night is the speech and the person he is, and that's who he should run as next time.
Yep.
And you're going to see him again. He's not gone forever. I will be the first one to say I was actually moved, and I don't get moved by political speeches often anymore. I was actually moved by his speech last night. I thought that was the most candid and real Ted Cruz that we have seen in a year. And I think he knew that all the BS that he got caught up in running and all the advisors giving him horrible advice, all of that was thrown out the window. He was speaking to his supporters, and he was speaking from the heart. And I think that's the Ted Cruz that people wanted to elect, but that wasn't the Ted Cruz that ran this time. And it's a shame because I've said before, and I'll say again, I think Ted Cruz is a good man. I think that his heart is always in the right place for this country and for the people. I think that I believe everything he said last night when he said that he would never stop fighting for the Constitution and the freedoms of this people, and I truly believe that.
So do I. That speech, it hit home, and it hit towards more what I thought he was about the Constitution, about the people, where his campaign to me was more about him, and he came off almost Obama-esque. Not saying he was Obama,
douchey.
But douchey.
He came off very douchey.
I think if he would have stayed in any longer, he would have done so much damage to his image that he would not have ever been able to recover by bowing out now. And a lot of people on social media, he didn't talk about unity. Yeah, he did. He talked about how we need to go forward together. And, I mean, I was listening to it, and I'm like, I think he's going to drop out. I mean, just the way he was talking. And he was talking about unity and coming back together.
And I agree. I agree, Joe. I think he woke up yesterday and he knew, Indiana was kind of his last run. And if he didn't pull out amazing numbers in Indiana, then he was wasting time and money and taking away from the general, which, again, he's a smart man and he knows right from wrong. He knows what needs to be done. And I think he knows, unlike Kasich, he knew the right thing to do in order to keep Hillary from getting into the White House was to get out. Now, he needs to immediately start giving speeches to his supporters. We need to start unifying the party and uniting the party again. And there's some healing that needs to be done.
I think give a week or two and he'll start coming out, enough of the never Trump, it's time to come together type deal.
He needs to do it sooner. He really does, I believe.
But
I think he needs to be out today.
I would like to see it, and I agree 100% with you, but do I see that happening right now? I don't know. I don't see that happening maybe for,
Potentially. I think potentially. I think you could absolutely see listen, Ted Cruz is a smart guy, and he knows what's at risk. If anyone understands the Supreme Court potential coming up in the next presidency, it's him more than others. And I think you're going to see him, even if it's not overt to start reaching out pretty quick because he knows what's going to happen. If it doesn't happen, if Trump cannot get Cruz support and some of the GOP to come back to him, he's going to have a hard fight, and I think we all know that.
It's a hard fight, but I don't think it's an
shot.
impossible fight, because I think...
But it's going to be a much harder fight than it needs to be.
I agree with that, but I think he's going to bring over...
GOP...
I think he's going to bring over enough of the independents and Democrats that will outweigh this Never Trump movement, because it's not as big as it was made out to be. There was an article I was reading on one of the breaks. It's not that big.
But more importantly, if the GOP is so anti-Trump and the voters are so anti-Trump that they're going to make it a fight, that's the problem. That is the problem. And you've already seen Reince Priebus, and I despise Reince Priebus as the leader of the GOP. I think he's a horrible and effectless leader. However, he immediately came out. Even he knew last night.
Yeah, he knew.
Hey, we got to start closing this gap quick. And other people need to understand that. We can have an argument within the party as to what we should and should not be doing. I said in my article, if that means that come November and we can get a conservative, if it's Trump, obviously it looks like it's going to be into the White House, and we want to start dismantling the GOP and starting from scratch, okay, let's do it. I'm for it. I am not for this two-party system.
Oh, yeah.
I think that we constantly have to pick our poison versus pick our candidate. I am not for it. So let's start that in November. We take a week off. Let's start the 10th or 11th. Let's start having a party. Let's stop giving money to the GOP. Let's start cleaning house and making them answer to us, because they're the ones who caused this. They are the ones that let their voters down so many times that people are just sick and tired of the bullshit and lies from the grand old party. And that's the reality. And somebody who comes in, even if they're not the perfect candidate, somebody who comes in and they're honest with people and they aren't apologetic and they're not afraid, people are going to respond to that because they've been lied to and bitch slapped by their own party for the last 12 years.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember, it was beginning of when all the primaries started up. I think you had me call into Sackheads, and one of the things I said is this two-party system is killing us. It's killing the people. We need to expand, somehow figure out. And I think the Democrats are ready to split also. I think there's two parties ready to be created from the Democrat. They got this massive movement on, within their party, and it's the same thing's happening in the Republican Party. But I think with Priebus,
yes, I agree.
The other issue that's going on, and maybe the article I read was wrong. I didn't have time to do all the fact checking, but it was talking about how if Trump is the nominee, he can push Priebus out and get another chairman to come in, because at that point it's his show, and if he doesn't feel comfortable with Priebus,
he can have. I mean, he has some influence, but it's not an outright. The leadership of the party essentially will pick that.
Right.
However, what needs to happen, and we said on Sackheads with Obama, the last Obama election, Clinton and I talked about this, that the Dems are kind of sick and tired of being pushed around too. You have the old traditional blue dog Democrats, and they are out there. As much as people don't hear from them because they're not loud people, you have the traditional blue dog Democrats who are sick and tired of this progressive thing. And listen, Obama won twice, but the second time wasn't nearly as powerful as it was the first time. They lost a lot of people to come out and vote. And the reason why is because we put up a horrible candidate in Mitt Romney. I mean, I like Mitt Romney as a person. I think Mitt Romney is probably one of the sweetest people in this country, and I wholeheartedly mean that. Horrible as a GOP candidate. He's just not strong enough.
He wasn't
not a strong enough person. No, and because of who Mitt Romney was, he was never going to come out and hammer Obama the way it needed to happen. It just was not going to transpire. Obama needed to have somebody in his face calling him out, and they tried to get that with Paul Ryan, and it just didn't work out. And we haven't learned our lesson. We keep wanting to vote for night guy. And listen, I think Ted Cruz has the potential to be an in-your-face guy with the right adversary. But I think Ted Cruz is kind of I really think he's a sweeter guy than people give him credit for.
He came out and he said, well, when I go up against Hillary, I'm not going to be going and taking personal shots. And I went, if that's it, he just lost right there. Because Hillary is going to jump down in the trenches and fight. And that's what I think Trump is going to do. Trump is going to just jump down in that trenches and go, I don't care. Let's go blow to blow. He has no problem.
Well, and Hillary, and listen, you look at the politics of the Clintons over the last 40 years. It's always been dirty, filthy politics. Mm-hmm. Anything they can do to win, they will absolutely hold a picture of your kitten with a gun to its head if that means that the Clintons are going to win. That's just who they are. And you could say that they're evil, or you could say that they're just politically expedient. It doesn't really matter. That's who they are.
Yeah, it doesn't matter why.
They're cutthroat. They're cutthroat politicians.
Yeah. And that's where I see, and I've thought Trump would be the better candidate going against Hillary. I know the polls weren't exactly showing it all the times, but again, the polls showed Ronald Reagan not winning originally. And now the polls are swinging and showing that Trump is coming around. People are starting to get behind him.
And I never trust polls anyhow.
Yeah, I agree. They had Romney winning.
Polls are, oh yeah. Yes, that's what I was just going to say. Polls are great because, I think people, when they're taking these polls, are living in the ideal world, but those polls don't tell you what happens when somebody goes in and pulls the handle.
Exactly.
Even exit polling. People lie at exit polling. Oh, who'd you vote for? Oh, I voted for this guy because, that's what everyone wants to hear. But the reality is I wouldn't vote for him if he saved my life.
There's a lot of also closet Trump supporters.
Yeah, exactly. And, I called it last week on Sackheads. Even if Cruz stayed in, I think Trump was going to seal it up by California. I think Trump has a much stronger support in California than people think. It gets repressed, but talking to the people, being out here, being on the ground out here, I talk politics all the time. You know me. This is my life and blood, and I absolutely love it. I talk politics all the time out here, and I know what people are into. And there's a lot of people who you never even think were pro-Trump or pro-Trump.
Every time I talk to somebody, who are you for? I'm for Trump. Every time. A guy was walking around a glass company who was looking at my vehicles. In Florida, if you get chips in your window, you get 3 free windshields a year. So he's walking around trying to do business.
Was the same.
And it was a black gentleman and a Hispanic guy. And, got all the paperwork done, and we started bullshitting. He's like, who you for? And, I have no problem admitting I'm Trump supporter, but I'm trying to figure out how this conversation's going to go because I'm going, oh, shit. And he goes, I'll stop you right now. I voted Trump. I'm for Trump. He goes, yes, I'm a black guy, and I voted for Trump. I'm like, there's more than what the media is saying. There's more people backing. Trump's winning the female vote, the high college, the uneducated, if you want to call them that, the poor, the rich, male, female. He's getting them all over the place.
And here's why, Joe.
Because he's real.
At the end of the day, especially with minority groups, because I think what has a tendency to happen is an election cycle, everybody talks about how much they love the minority groups and do everything for them and want to fight for them. They get elected, and then you get into the candidate, the presidency, or their term, and they do nothing. Absolutely nothing.
They disappear.
And I think a lot of minorities and legal immigrants in this country are sick of being used as a pawn. And at least, again, it goes to the devil. They're like, hey, you know what? I know Donald Trump is uncouth, and I know he may not be the perfect candidate, but I think he's going to fight for all of us versus just some of us.
Yeah.
And I would much rather have a guy who I know, hey, you know what, maybe he's kind of a jerk. I keep saying this over and over again, but this is the message.
Yeah.
He may not be the most polished political speaker on the face of the planet. He's just not. But that doesn't mean that he's going to be a horrible president.
The sky's not going to fall just because he gets elected.
Right. And again, if you truly believe that potential is there, then I say again, go back and make sure that you're focused on your congressional and your senatorial campaigns and you're calling your Congress people, you let them know where you want to be. Don't let them tell you where you want to be.
Exactly.
And we got to make sure and educate yourself into the system. Know what the Congress can and can't do. Contrary to what this Congress has done, they have the power of the purse. If they don't like what the president is doing with something,
they don't have to fund it.
They can pull the funding for it, and it ends what should have happened with Obamacare. What we were promised was going to happen with Obamacare never freaking happened. And then Donald Trump comes up.
And that's what created Donald Trump, was those promises. If you give us control.
So your listeners and everybody else is aware, and you know this because we've talked off the air, I wasn't a huge Trump supporter per se.
No,
he was not my primary candidate.
No.
I've had problems with him right along. The whole handicap, making fun of the handicap reporter and stuff like that, I just thought was a jerk thing to do. But I also didn't think that disqualified him for anything.
Yeah. I don't agree with everything. I don't agree with everything he does.
Right.
But I want to make one point. You brought up California, and I think California helped strengthen Trump by all those quote-unquote protests of these Hispanics that are saying that we're not thugs, we're not criminals, we're not that. And what do? They start destroying stuff, burning stuff, breaking windshields out of cars. You just proved them right. And I've talked to so many here in Florida. We have a lot of Hispanics, and I have no problem against any goddamn race. And these are ones that came here legally. My sister-in-law came from Colombia, I think it was, and she hates the illegals because she had to fight and pay all this money to get here, and they walk in and they just get amnesty handed to them. Most of your immigrants don't hate the amnesty worse than Americans do.
Well, and it's one of those things too, is they looked at it like they were suckered. From the moment they walked into this country, they tried to do it the right way. Yeah. They tried to bust their rear end. They tried to do everything the right way because they have a dream of coming to America. And then they come here. Once they become a citizen, for the most part, we're not doing anything special for them. However, if you come here illegally, we're giving you everything under the sun. Hell, if you're in the Middle East right now, we're talking about paying for you to come over here and live here illegally, essentially. So there's no reward system for our legal immigrants who come here and bust their ass. The only thing they can do is vote and be angry at those who get here illegally. And I agree with you. Many, many, many legal immigrants that I talk to in California, Hispanic, Asian, and otherwise, are very, very angry at the system for rewarding illegal activity when they had to spend thousands of dollars, potentially years working to just afford to come over here and start the process, and then work harder to be able to afford to complete the process. 2 jobs all around the clock, this, that, and the other thing, because that's the American dream, and they want to live it.
Yeah.
And then to see it given to somebody else who essentially is stealing it, they get pissed off, and I don't blame them. As a matter of fact, I 100% support all of them who come here legally. I say that all the time. I don't care where they vote. I don't care. These are folks that fought a battle that I can never even comprehend, sometimes leaving absolutely horrible, war-torn countries to come over here and start a life. We can talk about political alignments, religion, whatever. The fact that they did all that just to come to America, where I was born and raised and I was fortunate, and I know I'm fortunate. That's something we lose sight of. I was fortunate to be born in this country. Not white privilege fortunate, but fortunate that I was born in a country that has a constitution that used to protect me.
Yeah. Well, I have a question. What amnesty are Americans getting if they break the law? We're not getting any amnesty. Why are we being treated like shit? And the people that are breaking in here, breaking our laws, getting rewarded for it. Listen,
and I say it all the time. The thing that's most frustrating for me is, me as an individual, I'm always willing to fight harder for what I need to get done. I'm always willing to put that extra effort in. I'm always willing to scratch and claw. They don't want to take care of me and give me amnesty. I'll fight that fight myself. But when you have all these veterans in this country who signed up, served, and with the exception of Vietnam, were not drafted, Everybody after what, 73, 72?
So,
were not drafted, volunteered to put their lives at risk and potentially go to war to protect this nation. Families whose loved ones have given lives, families whose loved ones have been forever changed by injury from war mentally and physically, ridiculously high suicide rates amongst veterans, all these other things. When you're telling me that anybody who is not an American is more important than our veterans who protect our freedoms and our rights and do it for a minimal amount of money, go look at the salary range of the average E2, E3 in the military, you'll be blown away.
Yeah, I don't even think it's minimum wage.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's not. But we're willing to give illegal immigrants, because, the whole thing with all the Syrian refugees. Oh, well, it's inhumane not to bring them over here. Tough shit.
Yeah. I've been saying for a while, we need to take care of us before
I work with.
We got to take care of
who
our
have
own.
PTSD and can't get services. I know veterans who bust their ass, who can't get the services, many of which have just given up on the VA. Just stop trying because they don't get the shit they need out of it. But the illegals get everything they want in this country.
Yep.
You think that's why people aren't talking about building a wall and voting for Trump?
Well, also, I find it funny. Look at South Mexico. They have a wall because they had all those illegal immigrants coming into the country. So they built a wall to protect their country, but it's racist of us to protect our borders. Listen, it's 40
That's
after.
one of my favorite. There's a picture out there right now with a circle around the southern border. It says wall equals racist. And then there's on the Mexican southern border, it says wall equals, what did it say?
I got the
wall
same one.
equals patriotism or safety or something like that.
Yeah, I think I got the same one. I don't like memes that much, but every now and then I find one that actually makes a point. It's actually 40 after. It's time for a break. I already kind of skipped over the 20 after break. So.
Yeah, well, I figured that was going to happen. And Joe, I appreciate you having me on. Like you said, love the show every day. Listen as much as I possibly can. You're a great host and you're a great mind. And for all of us here at SHR Media, I really, really appreciate the fact that you're with us still, and we love you for it. And God bless my man, because you're busting your ass, and it shows.
And like I said, man, I owe you and Sean, or you and Clint, so much for giving me the opportunity. So it's an honor that you do that for me. But
just remember, you owe me. Screw Clint.
And Kel just said, "Thanks, Sean. See you tonight."
Absolutely. I'll see everyone tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 on the...
8 p.m. Eastern?
Sorry, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast on shrmedia.com. Sackheads Radio chat room will be open, and, we will be just as loud as I was this morning.
Exactly. And you're welcome. Anytime you get bored during the daytime you want to call in, just call on in. I don't give a shit. Gives me a moment to hush up. So, all right, I'll talk to you tonight, bro.
All right, brother. Thank you, sir.
All right, this is this Reaver of Common Sense. You're listening on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio. We'll be right back after this break.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
To Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplains.dailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying coffee is stupid, bro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern.
All right, we're going to break back in a little bit early. This is the Reaver of Common Sense. We got some breaking news coming out. John Kasich is reporting he is suspending his presidential campaign. It's being now reported John Kasich has dropped out. Give the man credit. Also, he was going to try to stay in it to the end, but he is now dropping out. Trump is now the candidate. Trying to pull up the article at the same time. I went in the other room during the break to get something to drink. My wife's like yelling at me. She pulled it up for me. John Kasich will end his presidential campaign Wednesday evening, according to breaking news report. Speculation about the move began flying once the Ohio governor canceled a press conference in Virginia and announced a 5 p.m. event in his home state. Now, Politico writes that an inside campaign source confirms Kasich will drop out. John Kasich is dropping his presidential bid, according to a senior campaign advisor, one day after Donald Trump became the presumptive nominee and Ted Cruz bowed out of the race. Kasich has long been mathematically eliminated from winning the presidential nomination on the first ballot of the Cleveland's Republican National Convention this coming July in Cleveland. Still, he campaigned onward alongside Senator Ted Cruz in the hope of stopping frontrunner Donald Trump from reaching 1237 pledged delegates and making his move at a contested convention. Kasich and Cruz attempted a strategy of focusing their campaign on states where they were most competitive on Trump. That alliance faced its first test in Indiana Republican primary Tuesday, where Kasich withdrew resources and allowed Cruz to attempt a one-on-one matchup. Trump won the state by 180,000 votes and is expected to sweep all of its 57 delegates. This prompted Cruz to announce the end of his presidential campaign. Hold on one second. I'm having trouble seeing. It's on my smartphone. Ugh. But this is a big game changer. And I wonder how much pressure he got from the RNC to drop out. And that's after Cruz suspended his run, RNC chairman race previous declared Trump the party's presumptive nominee. Trump will now easily reach the 1237 threshold to capture a majority of pledged delegates before the Cleveland convention. Now, it's end-all be-all. He can turn his whole attention to going after Hillary now. He doesn't even have to worry about Kasich anymore. And shit. So quick to turn everything, get back on the air. I forgot to turn the live stream back to the webcam. This changes everything, and I really think it takes more of a person to admit and step away than it is to run. I mean, it takes a lot to run for president, and it takes a lot. It's an emotional drain up and down. But to actually admit that you are done and step out, that takes a lot. Damn. That caught me off guard again. I mean, I kind of thought when I saw Ted Cruz talking, he was giving a goodbye speech. This is just released out of nowhere. And it's if you would have went back, what was it, 13 months ago, everybody was laughing about Trump. Everybody said he wouldn't last. He wouldn't win a state. He couldn't break 40%. He couldn't break 50%. He couldn't reach the 1237. And here he is, now the nominee. And today starts, as per previous, today starts the GOP's unification process. We either come together and win as one, or, well, we can still win even without the Never Trump. But I'd like to see people just calm down. And like Sackett Sean said, make sure that you have the right Congress in the seats. Make sure that they're willing to fight, unlike we have right now. Because if you really want to blame anybody for Trump, blame the RNC and the Congress. They swore up and down if we gave them things that they would fight Obama. We gave it to them. They did shit. So it's just Wednesday on CBS this morning, Republican National Committee Chairman Reese Priebus said now that Donald Trump is the presumptive Republican presidential nominee, the unification process of the party was now underway. Trump will be the presumptive nominee. You are not the presumptive nominee until you hit 1237. That being the case, I'm just stating the obvious. So look where it leads. Is it time to unite? Is what it leads to. He continued, well, first of all, let me just remind everyone that what's happening in the Republican Party is pretty historic when you look at voter registration against the Democrats. It's never been better in 25 years. Our fundraising in the first quarter at the RNC was an all-time record. We've raised more money than we did in 2012. What I'm telling you is that fundamentally are the opposite of the narrative. Now, clearly, when you have a race where you've got 17 candidates, and as of late, 2 very serious candidates with serious campaigns, it's not easy. It's hard, and I would be lying to you all if I said this is easy. We're going to pivot. You know what? We need to unify. We need time to unify, and we will unify. This is what starts today. This unification process. Everybody needs to take a step back. People that are never Trump, I think, need to step back from social media for a day. Collect themselves. Think long and hard. Because it's just going to cause conflicts. Everybody else needs to give the Never Trump a little breathing room. Let them reassess. Let them go through the 7 stages of grief. I don't mean to laugh. I'm laughing at that. I'm saying that. And let's come back together as a party. We can do great things with this country. We can do great things. But the in-house fighting is not going to help. The American process has happened. The American people have spoken. And I wonder if the DNC is now going at Sanders to get him to drop out so that they can stop the process and they can concentrate on Trump. But I don't see Sanders bowing down to the DNC. He's not part of the DNC. He is not a Democrat technically. He is a independent running on their ticket. This just changed a lot of things. It just went from last night of 2 people saying that they're not giving up, they're in it to the end, which I never take seriously, because you had Marco Rubio the night of the Florida primary saying, even if I lose, I'm continuing to the end, no matter what. He got his ass handed to him, and he rightfully suspended his campaign. Cruz said the same thing. He's in it. He lost, and he honorably suspended his campaign. And even after losing, Kasich said he was in it all the way to the convention. Even after knowing Ted Cruz had dropped out, he said he's still in it. But I guess after a night of sleeping on it and understanding what's best for America, we need to turn this country around. And sometimes it's not what's best for individual people. And there's nothing we can do about that. So I'm just still, holy shnikes. That was big news. And hopefully it made a few people's day. Today has not been one of my normal shows, which isn't a bad thing. I've actually had fun having Sackhead Sean, and of course he can call in anytime he wants. He is the boss. For those that don't know, he has the show, the Sackhead Radios, which is SHR Media, Sackhead Radio. It's his station with Clint. They're the bosses. So it was an honor to have him on. And I'm kind of floored about Kasich. It just, we finally get to lock this down and get going. But with that, it is that time. Don't forget, tonight you have the Sackheads Radio Show at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on SHR Media, you have the Southside Mutts with the Jersey Boys. It'd be me and Crash. And we'll be going over a lot of this stuff again tonight. And until then, I want everybody to have a great day. And just sit back and relax. You've been listening to the Reaver of Common Sense with its host, Jersey Joe. You can tune in every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on hppundit.com and shrmedia.com.